Hello, everybody. Welcome to number 39 of our wonderful podcast, video cast called Podspeed. As always, I'm joined by my, what would I call nemesis? No, you aren't my nemesis, James. You're one of my best buddies there. But James McKeown of No Braking podcast, which we will talk about a little later, and Taro Koki, who makes all of this happen, president of GT Channel. And today we have a guest who obviously needs no introduction. The man has won and has shined in everything he has touched. Any steering wheel, the guy will take it to the checker first. And those of you who've seen the show Top Gear America, Mr. Tanner Foust. How's it going, Tanner?
Good. Thanks for having me on, fellas. Appreciate it.
It's good. Our level of stardom with our guests are getting higher and higher. And Tanner, you're taking us to another realm. So we're glad to have you with us, man.
I think it says a lot of where you started.
Yeah, we started pretty low.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Not to say you're low, but I mean we did start, but we're working our way up. We're at the promised land now. I mean we've made it, with you.
Yeah, you're there.
We're there.
We're there. We can't go anywhere else now. This is it.
This is it.
Honestly,
we can only
number
go
39.
Just stop it. Just stop it. We don't need to go to 40. We're done.
It's all downhill from here anyway, right?
It is. Well, very
Tanner,
nice of you to say. Thank you, guys.
No problem, Tanner. We've all run into each other. I mean, I've run into a couple drift events. Taro, who's been covering drifting forever, managed to track you down. So I'll let Taro, start with the festivities. So go ahead, Taro.
Yeah. Speaking of tracking you down, we had Jim Lau the other day, and we were talking about it's been 10 years since we went to the Middle East, Abu Dhabi and Qatar. Remember that trip was
10 years ago.
10 years ago already, right?
Wow.
We've had Frederick on the show, and remember he took over your job over at Vegas Racing. So we've had
at Papadakis. Yep.
Yeah. So it's kind of full circle now that we have you. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I'm still, playing with Volkswagens. I think back then I was with Scion. That was the very end of the Toyota years. And then I raced for Ford for 5 or 6 years after that and got into rallycross in Europe and kind of worked to help bring that sport over to the US. And then Volkswagen had the e-ticket with all their WRC wins that they were doing in rally racing. So I knew their rallycross car would be unbeatable. So I was lucky enough to get on board with VW and been playing with Volkswagen ever since. That's been good. That was a long time ago.
You speak German by now?
No, I don't. I'm not proud of that. Yeah, no, I don't, but it's been a good experience with them. 10 years ago though, Abu Dhabi, that was the last Formula Drift event I did. Actually, I did come back in a Passat, a Volkswagen Passat.
Yeah.
Kind of for fun, to build a taxi. We wanted to build a 4-seat taxi out of a monster car. Papadakis built it, but to kind of pay for it, we needed to do some events. And I thought it'd be fun to go back and do some of the Formula Drift events, and it really was. But yeah, 10 years. That's amazing.
Yeah, and we shot that the night drift thing at Horse Thief Mile too. When you shaking down that Passat too. That was an interesting car.
It was a big girl. Still have it.
Yeah.
And still has the same, it's very much the same, except the roll cage we extended to the back, put 4 seats in it. We've run it for the Hoonigan This or That series a few times. I take it out to Optima Batteries, does these track days, and I take it out there and give rides. It's one of the most fun things I think for me I've found is, you were drifting. I was always a big advocate for drifting and, telling people about it. This is back when people didn't hadn't heard the word before, you know, and it was just
Yeah.
sort of getting going in the US.
Mhm.
There's a lot of explanation of what the sport was. And it was always the kind of thing, well, if you could just get in the car, you'd know what's so addicting about it and what's so fun about it. And so that's what the taxi is about. And everybody I've given a ride, you know, the hook's in deep. So
Mhm.
it's a great, I think it's a great experience, and it's great selfishly for me to be able to share drifting in such kind of an intimate way, to actually rip them around in a 900 horsepower car and do some speed and have some fun.
Yeah, yeah. So let's rewind a little bit. So you're from Colorado, right? But did I read you grew up in like Scotland or somewhere like in Europe or somewhere? Like when
I
you're small?
was a military brat.
Oh, okay.
I was a military brat, so you know, moved around. So my dad has always lived in Colorado.
Okay.
My folks got divorced when I was 3. My mom got remarried when I was 9 to a guy in the Navy. So we started
Got
jumping around from there.
Mm.
So from about 9 to 13, we lived in Scotland. In
Cool.
I mean, it was
where in Scotland?
in the
Tanner?
north. Where in Scotland?
Yeah, because I used to live in
The
Scotland.
northeast.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
We have,
Yep.
yeah, we,
I can tell from
James
your
is actually
accent.
not the Scottish one here.
Yeah.
No,
that's
that's all Sam. You could tell in his accent.
Yeah.
I could bring it on when I have a couple of
Scottish Sam Matani, I think, is how we pronounce him around here.
Yeah,
Matani's,
Tanner,
Scottish
where did you,
brogue.
which city did you live in?
I lived in it was called Farnell. The closest town was Brecon, and the closest town to Brecon was Montrose, which is halfway between Aberdeen and Dundee.
Oh, okay.
So our address was
kind of
literally,
close by.
yeah.
Yeah.
Were you on the East Coast then?
No, I was right smack in the middle. I was in a place called Perthshire. Do you remember? They call it Perth over there.
Yep.
But Perthshire,
Perth.
a small town.
Still,
called
you
Point. Right, exactly. The
yeah.
tackies.
There's so if you went straight east from there, you would have been to Montrose, which at the time was the end of the train line.
Okay.
And we were 10 miles inland, so we were much closer to the coast
Wow. So
than
it's
you were,
cold.
but about in the same place.
Awesome.
Yeah, it didn't seem that cold, right?
Oh,
I mean,
No,
yes,
I
it's
was
cold and
crazy.
it snows and it was.
It was cold.
I was young. So 9 to 13,
okay.
you know, I was invincible. I do remember that in the winter though, man, it was dark, you know, by law, you had to carry a flashlight to school between certain months, because it was dark when you went to school and it was dark when you got home.
Yeah.
But the summers were awesome. Yeah. And what were you doing out there, Sam?
I was kind of taking a little holiday from university. So I went there. Lived there for 6 months and lived in London, and then came back here and finished up my
Sweet.
college. So yeah, so I was 19 when I was there. So I felt the
Oh,
cold,
that's
I think, a
awesome.
little more than you, mate.
So it was only like 2 or 3 years ago for Sam.
Wow,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
So anyway, sorry,
That's-
Tanner. Sorry to interrupt, but from Scotland on then.
Yeah,
Colorado?
well, Scotland was a
Yeah.
good experience. You know, there was we lived in a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, and this guy Rob, who owned Rob's Bus Service, who the military contracted to take all the kids from the American housing to the American base where the school was. Rob was this big Scottish guy who had a couple buses, and he came and picked me up in his Volvo every morning. And he would aim for the pheasants. He was amazing at hitting pheasants, actually. He was a master. And he could get in their heads. You could see he would just shoot for their like back, their tails, because they would always juke one way and then run the other way.
So Scotland.
Bam! Yeah, he'd hit them, pull out, and he'd throw it in the back, and his wife would make pies out of him at night. That was his dinner. He'd be hunting for dinner on the way to work. But so we'd get there. I'd hold my foot on the throttle on the bus. He'd defrost the windows with pots of hot water, and but he'd let me drive his Volvo whenever it snowed, which was fun.
Wow.
And so from age 10 on, I was addicted to driving. I mean, I prayed for snow so I could slide his Volvo around. And that's where I got hooked. And Colin McRae was from not far from there, and you know, I got hooked on the driving thing while in Scotland.
How many
for
people,
sure.
Tanner, know that you've first developed your car control skills as a lad in Scotland, driving some dude's Volvo? Not many people.
Oh yeah,
probably
with the
know that
grill
story,
all
right?
messed up and covered in
Pheasants.
pheasant hair,
Yeah.
and pheasant fur and blood. Yeah.
That's where it all
yeah,
started.
that's a good,
Wow.
yeah, aiming, you know, killing pheasants.
Yeah,
Let's kill
killing
some birds.
pheasants.
I'm psyched.
Well, at least they weren't peasants. So
No.
It's the wrong one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you don't talk about it very often, but Scotland was a good experience, and
Amazing.
living in the country, that was my first time really living way out in the country.
That is absolutely.
Yeah.
And then
But
you
from there, moved
to
back
Colorado?
to
Yeah.
Napa.
Okay.
That was then went to California, to Napa.
Mhm.
And went to Napa High School, then Vienna, Virginia, and then moved to college in Boulder, Colorado.
Wow.
Okay, got it. And then when
Yeah.
did you start rallying though? When did you start driving like competitively?
That was moved back in when I was 13 and didn't obviously get my license till I was 16 in California, and that was the longest 3 years of my life for sure, because I'd been driving almost on a daily basis for years in Scotland now. And my mom would let me go drive. I got to drive all the time, and it was my favorite thing to do for sure. And then 3 years of watching my older brothers and sisters flounder around, getting their licenses, hitting trash cans. And then, got my license in Napa, moved to Virginia, finished out high school. And so when I went to school in Boulder, I went for, graduated with a biology degree. And it wasn't until I graduated that I really decided I'd rather be a race car driver than a doctor, and went down that road. Got a job at the ice driving school in Colorado, which I'm actually going to tomorrow with my daughter, which will be full circle. She's 15 and a half, and she's going to take an ice driving class tomorrow.
Daughter? Oh my God.
It's insane. Yeah, she's only 8 years younger than I am. It's weird. But
how did that happen? Wow.
You had her in Scotland.
Yeah, exactly. No, it was the ice driving school was a great experience from driving standpoint, but that's where I learned about rally racing on an actual experience level, not just a watching Colin McRae level. Yeah. So we had kind of a rally course,
and how did that like translate to drifting though? Was it like, when did you hear about it, and why did you decide to come down and try out drifting?
It was, so in the winter I worked at the ice driving school, and we did cool stuff. We had military programs and race car guys and all kind of stuff. And so got connected to an industry called the ride and drive world, which I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with, but these marketing events the manufacturers put on where they set up autocross courses and you come do a little 2-hour race school. Right. The BMW ultimate driving experience, that kind of stuff. Was doing ride and drives in the summer, and we were doing the BMW program. Samuel Hubinette was visiting from Sweden and saw this autocross course and showed up and came and went through the program and beat some of the instructors on the time lap and ended up getting a job there.
Okay.
And so he would come over from Sweden to do these ride and drives. And he and Rich Rutherford, another guy name that probably sounds familiar, and a guy named Nick Kuhnwalter from way back in the day, they rented a stock 350Z and did the first D1 event that came to LA. Yeah. And he skipped out on work at the time. I was the lead instructor, and he was like, "Yeah, bro, I'm not going to be there. Sorry." And I was like, what the hell? And covered for him. And then he started talking about the drifting stuff, and it sounded super cool. I mean, I'd watch the option videos, and I didn't think about it as a career direction, but I showed up for the next one. I think Laguna Seca, 2003.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? I think it was like a Yokohama Invitational.
I think so.
Gucci won it, and he was like 7 years old.
Yeah.
And his dad cried, and it was awesome. I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff is great. I got third.
Pre drift, right? That was still D1 days, right? We're doing
Yeah.
That
was still D1 days. Rhys got second. I got third. I was in the Jasper Supra, which Tyler McQuarrie went on to drive for us, I think at least a season after that. Rhys had pulled out his Pontiac thing, and he was like the Austrian ski team from I don't know, Hot Dogs or whatever that ski movie is, with the matching uniforms, and he was like all put together. And everybody else was like, scraping by, wrenches falling out of their shoes and stuff. And
so with his posse,
but yeah,
the wind blowing in his hair,
a real racing suit with real like embroidered, GTO logos and stuff.
Yeah.
But he set the bar. And Samuel was probably the next one that came in with the manufacturer with Dodge, which we were doing Dodge ride and drives, and that's how Samuel got that Viper. That Dodge program was because we were doing the Dodge ride and drives, and he hooked up with a marketing guy there.
I see.
And so that's just how I got into the drifting thing. Was the D1 came and did that deal. There was a guy, Terrence Jenkins was a friend.
Oh yeah, I remember that guy. Yeah.
And I went and drove his car. Do you remember? Funny, it's a small world, Taro, to be honest, because I've literally. You remember Drift Buffet?
Yeah, I remember that.
Drift Buffet, and who was it that ran that? He was in China for a long time. Now he's an airplane mechanic.
Oh, really?
Anyway, I ran one of his cars, and he wanted to turbocharge a KA. Nobody done it. He was like, I'm going to turbocharge a KA. Nobody's been able to put more than 9 pounds of boost. I live in Colorado. I'd fly over, pop a hose off, second gear every single time, get back on a plane, used all my United miles. And then finally went and got hooked up with the McKinney brothers.
Yeah.
Remember the McKinneys?
I remember them. Yeah. The Z, right? We were,
yeah. Yeah, we did it wasn't the Z yet. It was still an S14 and or an S13. We did it was the first full season, I think 4 events. I think FD was doing then.
Yeah.
And then that's when Papadakis came in from drag racing and was like, hey, would like to do a second car. And they said it's any car's fine as long as it's a 350Z. We're like, all right, sounds good. So that's what we did.
Yeah, that's when he was still driving too, right? We had Steph on the show too.
Did you really? Yeah, he built the S2000. Remember, it was I drove that. It was the most beautiful S2000 ever. And I mean, the Z was good, and I had just finished working on Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, where we had a 350Z. I was doubling DK for the movie. It was in a gray 350Z with an APR twin turbo kit. So we took that same kit, we put it in the race car, and super familiar with the car after spending 60 nights sliding it around, right-hand drive, but whatever, same thing. And then and so that actually working on that movie really elevated my drift game.
Oh, really?
One, because I practiced in the car so much and, was so familiar with the power band, just everything comfortable in the car. And two, just seat time.
Yeah. Not a lot of people know that it's hard to get practice time. Like people think that like professional, like Formula Drift drivers are like practicing all the time, but some guys don't, they don't practice at all. They just go and test, and then it's like competition, right? It's surprising.
I was doing a full season of rally racing while getting into drifting. I did both of those for 8 years simultaneously. And while the rally racing wasn't as public as drifting, it just didn't, have the same marketing machine behind it.
Yeah.
It was still good seat time. And so I always had, everything was practice. Drifting after a number of years, it's a great thing for these guys, honestly, because they know the tracks, the cars, the rules change a little bit and what the judges are looking for changes a little bit, but really they don't need to do that much testing. It's really just about, as long as it's reliable and then, the manufacturer hasn't come out with a new tire or something for them to try out. It's kind of, they just plug and play, and then they're just a marketing machine at that point.
What was it like, stunt driving for DK? Did you meet like Keiichi Tsuchiya and all those guys when you were in Japan?
I didn't shoot in Japan. Rhys went to Japan. There's only really one sequence that was shot in Japan. That's very, very short. It's very difficult to shoot there. It's a lot easier to close down roads in LA, cover everything in signage, and then green screen everything that's in the distance. So 99.9% of it was here. And I had met Tsuchiya before because of all the D1 stuff. Had done many of those events. And but on set also we spoke there's one scene where the red Evo is spinning around hitting stuff, and he's like a fisherman sitting there,
Yeah,
like going,
yeah.
shaking his head.
That's right. He was a fisherman in that movie. That's right.
Right. So that was the only time he was really on set
Okay.
in California, I think. Yeah.
I
So
see.
we spoke
I see.
then. That was actually Samuel. It was Rhys driving the Evo in the right seat with the steering wheel about this big. In the left seat, and then the camera looking at the actor, holding a fake steering wheel.
Oh, okay. So that was a special car.
So they were sitting side by side, but he was hiding down low. Rhys was
drifting blind.
And literally, it's the smallest little. I don't know. I think Sparko made the steering wheel. It looked like a small salad plate. It was so small.
Wow.
But yeah, that was a good experience working on that movie. I mean, it was. We all knew that was going to be one of the first times that drifting as a sport and a bit of a culture was going to be put into the mainstream. And so, yeah, everybody was real proud to be a part of that.
That's cool. And were you already getting hooked up with Top Gear around that time, or was that way after that?
Hooked up? What do you mean?
Like auditioning and, getting ready for Top Gear USA.
Oh, for Top Gear. I was doing shows already. So, I had been, oh my gosh, I did such.
You had a couple of shows. I remember
a lot of shows you hadn't seen.
Yeah.
You remember Redline TV?
Redline TV, yeah.
Did that one.
Yeah.
I did, I took over which was an honor to take over for Sal Masekela when he moved on to the E channel. He was doing Import Racers. I don't know if you remember Sal.
Yeah.
Was hosting Import Racers.
Yeah, Salima.
Yeah. And then was, so a couple after that. Supercars Exposed, Battle of the Supercars with Paul Tracy. And, a lot of Speed Channel type stuff. And then when Top Gear came, I did an audition for it, which was kind of like just go up and meet them in the office sort of a thing.
Yeah.
And had lunch with Adam Carolla, who was their host they had already chosen. And was good. And then we went and looked for a third host, and that was for an NBC show that never aired.
I see.
And we did tests with everybody in the car industry. It was the three of us talking, driving, Jesse James you name it. And that was super fun. We shot a pilot that was super expensive and very fun. And then the show didn't fly. I think they said that Knight Rider was their other car show and it didn't fly. So they were pulling the plug on Top Gear also. So then History Channel picked it up. Yeah. And thankfully we found, Rutledge and Adam Farrar, and I was lucky to still be a part of it, kind of grandfathered in from that NBC stuff.
Yeah.
And we had a freaking blast.
We had Rutledge on the show too, on this one, on the podcast. So it really is also.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you were already on your way downhill then. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's suffice to say, Tanner, he didn't say any nice things about you. He said everything was terrible. Everything was terrible.
Yeah.
He was telling us how crazy your garage is, though.
Hey, Tanner, I was
well,
Tanner, I was wondering, what was your experience?
What's that?
What was your experience doing that? Do you remember that international? It was kind of like a rallycross competition where you had all
the Race of Champions, right?
It was called the Race of Champions.
Yeah,
I think you had the Formula
Race
One
of Champions,
stars there. You were was it two drivers from each country? Was it? I can't remember.
Two from each country.
Yeah, and I remember you were.
I've done it three.
You did three of those? Yeah, and I was watching those on TV going.
Did three of them.
Tanner's must be going, whoa, man, I'm sharing this track and competing against the greatest drivers in the world here.
Yeah.
This is awesome. I was feeling awesome for it. Yeah. What was the
first year was.
Do you remember what year the first year was?
Sorry, go ahead, Sam.
Do you remember what year the first year was? I can't remember.
I was definitely wearing Rockstar. So that means it was 2006 or later. I would say the first year I did it was probably 2007 or 2008. I did it 3 years. It could have been a little later than that. But I just remember being in the coolest part. Yeah, it was in the locker room. The first one was in Wembley. The second one was in China. The third one was in Germany. And the first one at Wembley, okay, you're in an English speaking country. Everybody has meetings and this and that. And so the drivers would come together in the locker room, hang around, bullshit. And oh my gosh, that was a great race, whatever. And then disperse. In China, the drivers would come together and then there was nowhere to really go. So we all hung out together. We all went on the tour bus to, I mean, everybody except Schumacher. Schumacher was in his own world. And it always seemed weird in the days leading up to it that he was in his own world. And literally every other entry was just hanging out like we were on a high school field trip. But then when you got to the actual stadium and there were 80,000 people there, they introduced everybody name by name, crickets. Every single time. I've never been standing next to Travis Pastrana and heard literally crickets after they said his name. And then Michael Schumacher, and the place exploded.
Yeah, well.
And it's like, okay, that's why he's like sequestered off somewhere on his own. There were people that slept in the hotel for 5 nights in the lobby
Just
to see him.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
It was,
Whoa.
yeah. He was the most famous human being in the world,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
But there were other huge names there too, Tanner. So I mean,
oh yeah,
yeah,
name it. I mean,
exactly.
there's everybody there. But I mean, it was very telling when you went to Beijing and the only person anybody was there to see was Schumacher. But now they had, this was before they had a Formula One race. So now they're fans, of course, of Vettel and everybody else who was there. Vettel was there in that year. But it was a great experience. I noticed when I first walked into the locker room, there's Grunholm, who later was my teammate. So that was kind of a nice full circle thing years later. And Schumacher and Sebastian Loeb and all these guys. And I just see like brochures for jets and stuff falling out of their gym bags and things. And I'm like, I drive an S13 and, that's like, it's just a different, it was amazing to be a part of that. It fell into my lap a little bit and into my backyard as far as driving goes, because you drive a variety of cars, everything from Ferrari street car to a buggy on rally tires, to a rally car, to a whatever. And so I did do well on the track against especially the Formula One guys. So I beat Jenson, Button, and Schumacher both in those buggies. And, I was an unknown drift guy, but that was kind of a story that came up because that was Jenson Button in England, at Wembley. Beat him there at the after party. He was introducing me as the guy that beat him and everything.
Awesome.
And I just ran across Jenson Button like a week ago, doing a thing with a car company he's involved in called Radford. And, I was just like, oh yeah. You remember that time in 2007 in those buggies when I kicked your ass and I just, it was amazing. That was the best time. And he's like, have we met? I'm like, no, I know. Yeah, we've met. Trust me. We have met. I know you remember. It was a Thursday night. It was a little cold out, and, it's such a big deal for me. Right. But of course, not even a blip on the radar for these guys, which,
I'm sure he remembers, Tanner. Tanner, trust me, he remembers.
I think
you know
pretended.
Oh yeah.
I think he acted like he didn't remember that.
It still burns
for
to this
sure.
day, Tanner. That's why I don't talk
Exactly.
about it. It still burns.
Oh,
It's that one thing he regrets his whole career.
Yeah. I know.
One
you're
night.
Right. I could hear him say under his breath, freaking drifter, something like that.
A
Like,
drifter,
you do
a yank,
remember, yeah.
so.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's lots in it. No, but it was an honor to meet those guys. And it was very cool to see kind of how down to earth these people that are hero status. At Wembley, I could go anywhere, but they could not walk outside, period. And we did an autograph signing. And it was the most chaotic thing I've ever experienced in my life. And people were bringing out socks. This was your sock. Will you sign? I found it on the outside your trailer 6 years ago. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like the stardom factor for motorsports elite racers in the rest of the world is really mind-boggling.
I mean, Tanner, that's what Taro and I have to deal with Sam, to be honest. I mean, he still gets people talking to him about his garbage from 3 weeks ago that he's just throwing away.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
regular occurrence
Please
now.
sign this for me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is your
Yeah.
banana peel. This is your piece of orange that you didn't finish, but it just means so much to me.
Right.
Yeah. It's, it's a blessing and a curse.
And then
Oh, you
Tanner,
had-
I was going to ask Tanner, how did you come across doing the Hot Wheel stuff for like the big jump and the loop? How did that
Yeah,
all
we
sort
want to
of
hear
come
about
together?
that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So we were doing so drifting went on for about 8 years, got involved in rallycross briefly, and we're looking for some sponsors. My manager at the time, Brian Gale, had made a connection at Hot Wheels, and they said they had this new direction. They wanted to go toys for real. And he said, would you do one of these things for real? I was like, we could talk about it. Sure, why not? And, then that conversation carried on to, well, we were thinking either the loop or the jump. And I was like, I'd say the jump if I had to choose, because the loop seems impossible. So fine. So it was the jump. Okay. So then that turned into like engineering drawings and things to scale and looking at the size of it. And it's like, I guess we sure. Yeah, I mean, if you got the truck right and we had some practice, yeah, I guess, and I never really, that's the thing in motorsport. For anybody who's really tried to go raise money, you just kind of say yes to 10 things at once, hoping that one of them really happens, right?
Of course. Yep.
So I just sort of kept going down the road and it seemed cool. And I love the Hot Wheels brand. And I mean, it's a dream brand to work with. And before you know it, they're showing pictures of building the actual ramp. And I'm just like, holy crap, this is really going to happen. And then we are looking at the truck and the insurance. You wouldn't believe it. This is one of the most sued companies in the world, right? From kids swallowing. They've been swallowing cars since they were made, right? So I know that's awful. Sorry. But
they got their lawyers
I mean, yeah, it was this thick. Then
Yeah.
they're like, we're going to do it in the infield of the Indy 500 right before gentlemen start your engines on the 100th anniversary of the race. It's like, oh my gosh, the scale is insane. They rented out the entire,
No pressure.
no pressure.
Not at all.
Rented out the entire Marriott for their staff on the Indy 500 weekend, which is like the pinnacle of Indianapolis in that time. Then there's a bar in the Indy 500 infield that's a famous bar that you sit up on the roof and watch the race from, because a tire could fall off the truck if I crashed out of the explosion. If it was sent fast enough from the burning truck, it could bounce towards this bar. So they had to rent out and pay for every theoretical drink that bar would have sold during the Indy 500.
Oh my
Like
God.
it was, the scale was over the top.
That probably cost more than the Marriott.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Like it was staggering. And then you look at, and then they're like, by the way, we want to have you start from 100-foot door, because so it's like our toy, the V drop.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. So anyway, we did practice. We did like 50 jumps, broke the world record like 10 times during practice, but found out how sensitive this truck was to wind. So it all came down to just a couple mile-an-hour wind of like a go, no go. Meanwhile, there's 300,000 people there. They've, spent everything. They've sent out 250 people from the office, and it was a lot of pressure. And I'm just glad it worked out.
Can I ask, Tanner, did you or did they have you put out life insurance on yourself?
Yep.
Yeah, they
do. I did life insurance, and I had to carry my own policy, a pretty big policy for the whole year, actually,
Okay.
but not just life insurance, but just liability insurance and workers' comp and all that. But
were you launching that truck? I mean, do you just like go full out, or are you like kind of like braking it to keep the nose down, or how did that technically happen?
There was some cool innovation in the process, It was an off-road racing truck. It was built for short course racing. Those Lucas off-road trucks, they jump nice, and they have the engine in the front, not in the back, like maybe a Baja racer.
Yeah.
And they fly pretty nice, but it's hard to keep them balanced in the air. So we did learn some aerodynamic tricks to keep the air from getting underneath it, Because the problem is, as it's going through its arch, at this point, if it's pointed here, when it starts falling, the air gets underneath the hood and it backflips it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you really need it to fly kind of like a, like a football, or a dart. But so having some lower dams works, having some air release from the hood, big giant holes in the hood, which with Hot Wheels, they could just make the toy look like that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do is hit the brakes in the air like a dirt bike and get the nose to pitch down once you're airborne, because you got about 600 pounds of tire and wheel spinning at 100 plus miles an hour. So there's a lot of rotational moment that you can stop and put that rotational moment into the chassis, and then the chassis pitches forward.
I see.
It's not as dramatic as a dirt bike because, the ratio of diameter to the weight and everything of the whole vehicle, but it did have an effect. So to answer your question, we found the best takeoff for me would have been 100%. That would have been the best possible scenario. So I could just be a robot and just keep it wooded, but it wasn't. It was about 60% throttle was ideal.
I see.
On the day, it was very hot on Sunday. It was nice and cool on Saturday. The jump was on Sunday. It was very hot. They said the car is going to be down 190 horsepower. And they couldn't, it was carbureted. They didn't want to go messing with the jetting and everything because we didn't have time to try it out. So they're like, it's gonna be down 190 horsepower, but you still should be able to make the minimum 100 miles an hour to clear the gap.
Should,
like, great.
Minimum.
Should be able to. That's, yeah. I made the mistake of standing on that ramp and like looking at the gap. I mean, they had boxes and everything, but I mean, it was ugly if you didn't make it. So you needed to see triple digits. I had 2 speedos. One was GPS, one was a wheel speed thing. The GPS was very accurate in a straight line, but once you went up and added a third dimension to the GPS, there was a latency to it. So it wasn't great. So I went off the wheel speed indicator. The wheel speed indicator was accurate, but when you hit the compression, the diameter of the tire changed so much, the wheel speed ramped up. So you just had to be kind of cognizant. That's what testing is for, is you learn that stuff. So I needed to see triple digits. I didn't get triple digits by the bailout point. So I stayed in a lot harder than I thought than I normally would. Yeah. And then as I came up the ramp, I was full throttle all the way up the face of the ramp. And then I guessed 60%, just guessed at it real quick. And I made it to 80% before it left the ramp. And so it flew nose high.
Yeah.
And it's blue sky. So if you don't see the clouds going that way, then you hit the brakes.
Okay.
And so I hit the brakes pretty quick and I killed the motor in the process. So that pitched it forward, but it also started a rotation because of the rotation of the engine stopping.
Yeah.
And so that's why the truck, and it feels so slow in the air. You're like, oh, this is no problem. This is going to be fine. This is going to be fine. But it's 4 seconds in the air and it just keeps rotating and rotating until finally it's like, oh, this is going to hurt.
Yeah.
And, suspension was unbelievable when you watch the video of how that absorbed.
James, do we have that video? Is the video up?
I can pull it up.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, did you think, hey man, I'm sure you did. I might die doing this. I mean, a number of times. No, or did you go? Nah, I think
landing short was the scariest thing. We did so many test jumps, and I had a friend of mine, a guy named Paul Gerard, who incidentally was the Stig on the US Top Gear. The Stig. Yeah. So he was a backup driver just in case I got sick or chickened out. And that was a stipulation from day one, was that there's a backup driver.
Oh, God, that is terrifying though. Look at that.
Do you see those black marks coming down that? I actually slid sideways down that thing the first time I tried it.
Oh my God.
It was a little scary. But yeah, so here you're 100%. And then I'm trying to get back to 60. I only got to 80 and that kept the nose up. So right around here, I hit the brakes and the nose starts to pitch down, but it also starts turning the truck sideways, which doesn't seem like much, but it just kind of keeps turning. And then by the time it lands, the wheels actually go straight into the wood because the tires fold out of the way for a second. And I'd like to say that I did this little 360 to the camera on purpose, but I didn't. I thought it was going to roll.
It didn't look like you.
By the way, we only had 200 feet to slow down, and in the tests, we knew it was going to take almost 400 feet to stop. So they built the ramp, and they're like, "Well, I mean, it is what it is. So I was fully expecting to end up in the fence. But the kitty litter did its job.
Yeah.
And that was that. And I was stuck right there. Unfortunately, I couldn't drive back up the ramp, but yeah, that was quite an experience. The loop.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's that?
No, I said
the loop came up a few years later and they wanted to do. Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. The loop came up a couple of years later and it was with Greg Tracy. And that was a double loop. And that was actually scarier, honestly, because it was, well, one, that whole little catch system didn't really work. God, that's just obnoxious.
I was there. I saw that with my son when you did this. The loop.
Oh yeah. There's a weird, do you see that car right there? That car is a Mitsubishi Evo.
Uh-huh.
And one of the Evos was the first car I bought new in 2003. Which was it had been sold to Rich Rutherford, and Rich Rutherford turned it into a drift car, and then he sold it to Billy Hammond, who owned the picture car warehouse that built these things. And now we were flipping the thing upside down. So it was kind of a weird full loop, or as it were.
Paul Tracy was a Mitsubishi guy too, though. He did. Didn't he?
Paul Tracy was.
He drove.
Greg Tracy.
Oh, Greg Tracy. Yeah.
Oh, for Pikes Peak.
Yeah, for Pikes Peak. Yeah,
that's
I think
right.
He drove Mitsubishi.
I mean, he's known as a motorcycle guy. You know, he has 8 wins at Pikes Peak and raced Ducatis up there. But he's an amazing driver and a bona fide stunt man.
Oh man, look at that.
So yeah, I almost didn't make this jump.
You almost didn't. I see the
No, it was my turbo inlet hose had popped off. We had something break on the cars every time we practiced the loop. We did it 3 times, and then finally we're like, let's just pack this thing up, take it to LA and do it for real. Because we just kept breaking stuff.
Hey Tanner, what was the entry speed going up into that loop? What speed did you guys?
52.5.
That's it, huh?
Wow, that's kind of slow.
That's it. I know. I saw this, like 19-and-a-half-year-old engineer come out with his laptop and say, yep, 52.5. We're like, bullshit.
Yeah, I would say 80. It's got to be at least 80.
Yeah.
I thought you would just go with the 1.21 gigawatts and said, that's exactly what we're going to need to go here.
Exactly. Yeah. I threw him the keys, said, go for it. Let's see it. And I had a little remote control car. Okay. So in all honesty, and not to make too long a story out of this, but in all honesty, we had a remote control full-size car made out of a Mitsubishi to do the loop first, just to prove the concept.
Okay.
The RC driver guy who drove this thing, he got on there, went to the loop. He ended up hitting a little bit of a guardrail before he got to the actual loop, which slowed the car down enough that it didn't make it. It went up, it fell to its roof, and for sure killed everybody inside.
Yeah.
So that was everybody's like Wednesday afternoon. So then, and this is all at El Toro, the El Toro Marine Base.
Right.
Yeah.
So then I happen to have a remote control car. So I like a Traxxas Slasher that could do 60. So I pulled that thing out and we sent that one through the loop and it stuck. And so we were all pretty comfortable. All right, maybe they're right about the speed. Maybe 52.5 works. So the next day, Greg and I rock, paper, scissored, and I can't remember if he won or lost, but he went first.
Yeah. I mean, it looks actually slow. It's not that fast. I mean, it's kind of amazing that it's stuck.
It was 6.8 Gs. Yeah.
Wow. That would have stuck you.
Yeah. It was in order to, because they wanted the loop to be a circle and not an ellipse like a roller coaster. To be a circle, you had a peak G in the very first part and the very last part, and then up at the top, you needed to try to get 1 G. So in order to have 1 G when you were upside down, you had to get 6.8 Gs on the entry. It was nasty.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Tanner, We can keep on going forever, but I know you have
Yeah, good
a
job.
hard
I'll
stop.
do that too.
Tell us what's going on right now. I mean, we just saw this video you did for Porsche. What's your racing schedule look like? What's up right now?
Well, so this video actually we shot in Finland last year. This was right before COVID. Shot it in February of 2020. Wow. And it was a fun thing with customer racing. And then I'm also coincidentally racing a 718 Club Sport GT4 at Pikes Peak this year.
Oh, nice.
As part of Jeff's Warts program. Jeff does a program where he coaches guys. And so that'll be super cool.
Oh, that's cool.
This was an amazingly fun video to make. I mean, I love driving on ice. Obviously, working at the ice driving school, it's one of my favorite things to do. Can't wait for my daughter to try it out tomorrow.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
But it's going to be so cool. So we have a couple plans ready for Volkswagen. Volkswagen still has some exciting stuff going on, even though we're not racing the Beetle anymore because it doesn't get produced. We are going to be doing stuff with some of their electric cars. So there will be some news coming in the next month or so about some of our plans with that stuff. Right. We've had a lot of plans. I mean, it's been no secret Volkswagen going completely electric for a long time. And so we had a lot of cool plans before COVID hit, and working across the ocean in the COVID world really put the pause on a lot of our stuff. So a lot of other kind of companies and brands have been able to do some cool electric things that we missed out on. So we're ready to jump in the game bigger than ever. And cool. So yeah, looking forward to that, and some new partnerships coming up. So it's still cranking, and even without the Rallycross championship. But so we'll have to see what happens for 2022. Hoping for some more electric racing in 22.
That's awesome. Cool. That's cool. Well, you have your boat and your plane now, so I guess you've made it now, right? You're
fixing lots of shit. Yes. Thank you for reminding me. That's right. I need to change the oil on the plane. No, there's no, it's did you say made it?
Yeah, like that's funny. The race.
See, because there's always a bigger yeah, exactly. My plane is a tractor with little stubby wings that poke out the side. I adjust my air mixture as I climb. Those guys are, G4s and G5s. But yes, thank you. That's nice of you to say. I really have found a passion in flying. I'm not going to lie. It's something that I always wanted to do. And when I was in college in Boulder, I worked for an inventor who invented amusement rides, and he had planes and aerobatic planes. And I know, Taro, you and I have talked about this before, but that's really he was the guy that kind of got me thinking as an entrepreneur, like, let's do what is the most fun for a living. Yeah. And I never did get an hour towards a license then, but once Top Gear finished, we filmed Top Gear like 150 days a year. Yeah. And we did 750 days of shooting. More than that in 6 years. It was a lot of filming. Yeah, that's a full-time job. And racing a full championship in Europe and a full championship in the US and raising a daughter. It was a busy time. So once Top Gear ended, I was like literally the day after the last shoot day, I started getting my pilot's license, and it's been a great extra layer to life. Yeah, that's awesome. Flying around. Yeah. And learning to fly and using it for business. And I think we may be one of the last generations that has this kind of freedom. I mean, you literally just go to the airport, fire up your little flat six and fly wherever you want. You don't really have to tell anybody what you're doing, where you're going. It's an amazing amount of responsibility and freedom. And it does make for me, my size plane, it makes, the southwest part of the country a lot smaller anyway.
Yeah, you get to be the guy that shows up at work like, yeah, I just flew in, right?
I never say that, because you cannot not be a dickhead if you are the one that flew to work. Just an FYI, if you get a pilot's license and a small plane, you never say that you flew to work.
Sam, be careful.
Warning, Sam. It's a warning. Very fair warning.
I don't fly myself. I have people fly me.
Yeah, see, that's the next level. Then you can say, my pilot needs to be home, so I probably should go.
All right. Yeah. Well, Tanner, thanks so much for joining us on our show. It's all downhill from now for us, though.
Thank you, Tanner.
But
Yeah,
Tanner,
buddy.
Well, I'm
follow
going to tell
Tanner.
Rutledge you said that.
yeah. Well, we'll be rooting for
For
you
sure
whenever
not.
we see you on the other side of this COVID thing. So
Yeah, no, I'm excited to get into some cool stuff this year. I did a one side thing. I did drive the Golf 8R and GTI for a video the other day.
cool.
And I know there's so many hardcore Volkswagen fans out there that are always worried when new cars come out. And what a beast! It's
Really?
I mean,
There's a lot
I'm
of
even I'm
GTI
the
fans
biggest
out there.
critic.
Right.
I'm the biggest critic, right?
Mhm.
Because when I get on the track and I push it hard, I can see all the compromises that the engineering and the marketing and the budgeting team
Mhm.
had to make.
Yeah.
But the torque vectoring in the R is so phenomenal. It's just unbelievable. The sound and exhaust note of both cars, the tech that's in them. Yeah, they did a really good job. I know it took a long time to get these cars out, but
Looking
yeah,
forward.
they're a big step forward. Unfortunately, just driving down the road, a lot of it just looks like features and clean interior and lots of glass everywhere.
Yeah.
But if you get in a place where you can drive them hard, then you can really see the big advances. So hopefully
Cool.
journalists and consumers get to do some track days.
Awesome.
Can't wait to get in one then.
Yeah, cool. All right. Thanks, Tanner.
Thank you
All right.
guys so
All
much.
right, we'll be
Thank you, Tanner.
Thanks,
Take it
Tanner.
easy.
Okay, thanks.
Talk
See
to
ya.
you soon.
See ya. Okay.
Sam, you
All
gonna do the blue one first?
Say again.
You
Oh,
gonna do the blue one first?
you want me to go first? I have
Yeah,
to get
do
ready
the blue
here.
one. Come on,
The
I thought
blue-
professionals
okay.
like me
Yeah,
are always
let's-
prepared, Sam. A
Yeah, well, I
professional
am
is always
prepared now.
prepared.
You know, I got a surprise for you, just so I could look.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
Seagal.
my word. Steven Seagal is in the
man.
house. If
Let's
only he
see.
had a hooded jumper on, Taro.
Where's the
If only
carrot?
he had a
Oh,
hooded
carrot.
jumper.
Where's the carrot?
Okay, so now I could see. I was squinting the whole time. I didn't want you guys to like be dissing me in front of Tanner.
Oh, speaking of that, Taro, where is the poll? How did the poll go in regards to a hatchback?
Oh, we haven't run that. We just released the that video like 2 days ago. So we'll get it up.
We need to. The people have been asking me. They've been wanting to
One
know:
is asking
is
you, I
a
mean-
Skyline, is a GTR a hatchback? Sam Matani says a GTR is a hatchback. That's the thing.
Was it a GTR?
No, it was
that he
something else. We were talking
No.
about something else.
Yeah, it was
The-
a
Another
different.
car.
It was a Celica.
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 Celica. He said the Celica was a hatchback.
That's right. Yeah, it's kind of in that gray area. Come on.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Come on, man.
By that, you're talking a Porsche is a hatchback. A GTR is a hatchback. And you're like, everything with 2 doors and a boot's a hatchback. I'm like, no, it's not. Sam.
No. You have to have a hatch in the back. A Porsche doesn't have a hatch in the back. Okay, thus the name hatchback. Do you understand?
Well, the GTR, you're telling me GTR is a hatchback. That's all I'm just going to say. We're just keeping
GTR
it
does
real.
not have a hatch in the back.
You
It's a
just
trunk.
said.
It's a trunk.
Look,
It's a.
Sam,
I'm
by
sorry,
your
it's a
logic.
boot.
What
a
blue
boot.
car are we talking about, Sam? What are you gonna?
Okay, let's. I think
What
the
do you-
blue car we're talking about is the next gen Subaru WRX STI.
Okay.
Is that correct, James?
That's
There we go.
correct.
Okay, there we go. Well, the next gen WRX STI could be the last pure gasoline engine model from Subaru when it comes to the WRX, because they may be going to hybrid, especially with the the Toyota Subaru Toyota relationship. This car is expected to make its intro hit the market in the spring of 2022, so spring of next year.
Next year. Wow.
Yeah, next year, spring of next year. But we might get a peek at a prototype version at the Tokyo Motor Show this fall, if there is a Tokyo Motor Show this fall.
If there is one, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what the status of the Tokyo Olympics is. Is it a go or not?
I don't think it's going to happen.
You don't think so? Ugh,
Unfortunately, I don't see it happening. I mean, how could they?
I don't know. They might try
Right?
to force it. I mean, sporting events they're starting to, like Australian Open. I mean, the tennis.
Yeah,
football, so-
you're right. I mean, it is in what, July, August, I think it was first week of August or something like that. So
Yeah,
maybe
so it's the Summer
they'll
Olympics.
have people vaccinated enough to throw it. But I mean, they have to make up their mind pretty soon, though.
Yeah, well, let's hope
But
there's
anyways.
a Tokyo Motor Show right this
Yeah.
fall too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what our ninja otakus are telling us is that this new WRX STI the one that'll come out next year, will be a completely different car than it is now. Yeah, judging by the renderings here from Best Car, that the car is going to look familiar. It's going to look like a WRX STI, especially in that blue. And a lot of the styling and a lot of the visual cues will be left intact. But once you get behind the wheel, they said this thing's going to drive completely different. This new WRX STI will come powered by a variation of their F24 power plant, and that is the engine that's currently in their Subaru Ascent SUV. And it's not going to have an EJ20, the flat four that the WRX STI in Japan have been famous for what, the last, I think, so I think 20 or 30 years.
Why are they going to make this change in the power plant?
Because it's going to be a lot more powerful. The Ascent, the FA24, which is a 2.4 liter flat four, so thus the 24, produces 260 horsepower in the Ascent. But this 260 horsepower ain't going to cut it for the WRX STI. So the engineers tuned the turbocharged 2.4 liter to 400 horsepower and 360 pound-feet of torque. So the new WRX STI is going to go into the 400 horsepower class, and
that is a powerful street car.
Yeah, that's a powerful street car, and of course,
for that size.
And not only the engine. I mean, the pretty much the whole car is going to be all new. It'll be built on their new SGP platform, which stands for excuse me. It was
bless you.
Sorry.
On the new SGP.
I know I was going to, but you guys could edit that out, I hope. I'm sure you guys won't. But the SGP platform, the Subaru Global platform, and their innovative four-wheel drive system, which called the symmetrical symmetrical four-wheel drive, will be adapted for this new WRX STI. So the car is going to be lighter, stiffer than the current version, and more powerful. We here, our Ninja Otakus, are saying that the curb weight's going to be about 3,300 pounds. So that'll let this make this Subaru WRX STI go from 0 to 60 in about 4 to 4.5 seconds. So it's going to be very, very quick. Unfortunately, we hear the price of the car is going to be a little higher, maybe up to about the 45,000 mark. The current WRX STI in the US is just under $40,000, around $39,000. But the pricing, it's way too early to say for sure. So when this car comes out in the spring, we hear March, so early spring of 2022, you can expect it's going to come with a lot of power, a lot of pop, and it could be the last of its kind for the Subaru brand. So what do you guys think?
It looks really similar to the current one, huh? Especially from the back.
They said they want to keep it looking the same as the car that's out, the car that has been out for the last few years. They don't want to change it too much, just because it has such a great following. I mean, I know so many people who are just big time WRX fans. Rex, who used to work at GT.
Yeah, he bought one.
Yeah, so he's a big Subaru WRX fan. So. James, you are a rally guy from Britain, so.
I mean, it looks, as Tara said, it looks very similar to the current WRX. I mean, it seems.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing?
I mean, the styling for them, for the WRX, isn't really for me in regards to the sedan form. I like it as a hatchback, a true hatchback, not a Samatani hatchback, if that makes sense.
Hatchback. That's a true hatchback.
So this, it makes sense to put the FA24 engine in there, which is like sort of an enlargement of the current FA engine that's in it. So, and if it's got to be realistically, it has to be up towards that horsepower figure, because it's sitting around 300 and some now, which is Camry range. So it doesn't want to be competing itself against a Camry, so it's got to go high. So 400 seems logical progression, the horsepower wars. So, I mean, it seems fine. It's not really for me or my thing, but I'm glad that Tara likes. That's the important thing.
Why isn't it for you? You just don't like these kind of cars?
No, I'd prefer, for example, we're talking about, you mentioned rallying, Sam, then I'm obviously going to go with my favorite at this moment in time, which is the Gazoo Racing from Toyota, the Yaris.
The
I think,
Yaris?
yeah, that's
the
my
Yaris
favorite
just
one.
won European Car of the Year too. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's my one. That's my top of the mountain for me at this moment in time. The Subaru is obviously a compelling option, and I'm sure that if Subaru were to give me a press car to drive around in for a week, I might have some other opinions at this point. But I haven't driven one recently, so that's that. I feel like
we got to get on them. So
I like the old, the smaller, the sedan shape of their rally cars, though. Actually, to
Me
be
too.
honest with you.
I mean,
Yeah.
everyone likes the 22B. I mean,
Yeah.
Right,
I'm
the 22B is-
currently driving that in Gran Turismo at the moment, competing my way
yeah.
through the league. So, I
Did
mean,
they-
I do.
Did they
Yeah.
make the 22B available in the US?
I think you can only buy it under the gray market.
Oh, okay.
I think from memory.
Oh, you mean the Gran Turismo that I got you with on the PlayStation 4 that I got you?
I believe it was a Gran Turismo that Taro got me
Oh, yeah,
because
okay.
you weren't able to deliver on that after you said you would. But yes, you were also the one that was able to enable me to pay full market price from the
You did not pay
PlayStation 4 that you said I was going to get for free. But yes, that's correct.
Full market price. My God. So, anyways, just a note on the WRX STI with their symmetrical four-wheel drive. Probably a lot of people don't know exactly what it is, but with this symmetric four-wheel drive, only Subaru really can do this because it does take the flat engine and you mount it longitudinally, and from the engine to the rear differential, everything is mounted in a straight line, so it's symmetrical. Thus the name symmetrical four-wheel drive. So, and the combination of the flat engine, the transmission, balanced over the front axle, it provides optimum weight distribution with a low center of gravity. So this gives the car really improved handling characteristics and maximizes grip on all four tires. So the symmetrical all-wheel drive is kind of a unique thing for Subaru, and it should make this WRX STI really flourish, in this handling department. And by the way, Subaru has a symmetrical all-wheel drive on all of its cars that has a flat engine, except the BRZ and its K cars. So it's kind of a cool thing. So we'll see that in the WRX STI. That'll be one of the things that'll kind of differentiate, of course, and being four-wheel drive, differentiate it from the BRZ. So
I wonder if they'll have some like limited edition models, coming out before this this new version comes out, because Subaru loves doing that kind of stuff.
I don't think so. Even though this is an all new WRX STI, it's already it's already coming out next.
It's next spring,
year.
right?
I don't think there's enough time for them to come out with a kind of a special 23B or whatever, some kind of version like that. So
I think they could do a different coloring on the panels and that kind of thing.
Something light like that.
Yeah,
but
not
not
add-ons,
something heavy.
bolt-ons of sorts, but nothing too big and heavy.
Okay. So anyways, thumbs up for me on the WRX STI. Thumbs up for Taro WRX STI, and kind of no. You just said you didn't like it.
It wasn't for
I
you.
said it's not. I said it wasn't for me, but I still like the car.
If it's not for you, that's a thumbs down for you.
No.
Yes,
Sammy,
it is.
Don't put words in my mouth. They're not characteristics I like from you.
Okay, it's a thumbs up. Okay. So you can
Okay.
still borrow cars. They'll still let you drive their cars.
He wants
I
to
know
drive it,
that's
guys.
all you're worried about, James.
I just want to be able to drive it, Sam, to be fair, and then I can give some proper feedback.
Okay. Well, anyways, the next
Fair enough.
car I'm going to talk about is one that dropped just this week or last week. Lexus, So Lexus just dropped this new high performance IS 500 F Sport. And these photos are the real deal, and they weren't created by our friendly artists at Best Car or any of those.
No ninja work here.
No, Ninjas did not create this, but these were supplied by Lexus, the company itself, or the brand itself. Despite being called the F Sport, which usually designates visual and chassis tweaks, but not engine tweaks, this one goes all out with a new engine, not a new engine, an engine upgrade. Under the hood is a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8 that'll spit out 472 horsepower and 395 pound-feet of torque. This is pretty much the same engine that's you find in the RCF.
Why is this not in,
yes.
why is this car not the
F.
ISF,
Right. That's a very good question.
right?
That's a very good, and that is one I cannot answer because I don't know. I don't know why, because you're right. You know, traditionally when it has a huge engine upgrade and everything, they called it the ISF, right? Or
Yeah.
an F without the
Yeah.
sport, which is,
Right.
always confused everyone. And yeah,
Right.
like I just said, F sport usually means, visual and chassis tweaks, right? So I
Mhm.
don't know, but they did call it the IS 500. So maybe, who knows? Do you think there might be another ISF in the making?
Even more sportier than and
Yeah,
high
I don't
power
know.
than this thing? I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
James
know.
is nodding, but you think something's coming? I mean,
Yes,
this is
they have to.
this
I
is
Definitely.
pretty high
Definitely.
performance
No,
already.
Yeah, it's very high performance. We're
No,
talking
definitely
472 horsepower in this small.
guaranteed
compact.
it's coming. Guaranteed it's coming.
So this might be from James's. James is putting on his Otaku Ninja hat and saying this is maybe a preview of what's to come in a real ISF. Right, James?
Agreed. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
And you know what? I think there's a huge possibility of that. We hear that they're coming up with the LCF also, which we've reported here before. So, yeah, who knows? But for now, this IS 500 F Sport is going to be the top of the line car in this lineup for the IS. You'll tell the IS 500 from the other cars because it has a much larger bulge on the hood, more muscular front and rear fenders, and the rear has a lip spoiler and a different diffuser. And what I love about it is those quad exhaust tips. That really kind of tells you the kind of designates the performance engine upgrade performance of it. This car is expected to come out late this fall. I don't think Lexus has said anything about when it's coming out, but our Ninja Otaku say it will be coming out this year. And we haven't heard anything about cost yet, but I've heard ranges from $60,000 to $70,000. So they'll be going after Mercedes AMG and the BMW M's.
This is like muscle car
M3.
territory.
Yeah, it's 472 horsepower. So so it's going to be a beast. So and naturally aspirated. Everyone's going the turbo routes these days, right? So this one,
Gas.
Lexus has been holding on to the naturally aspirated engine theme here. And to tell you the truth, naturally aspirated, you got better low end torque, better power delivery. So like they say, there's no replacement for displacement, and this thing, at 5 liters, it's a big engine.
Less mileage. The only thing
Well,
is
yeah,
less
but
mileage.
I mean, you're not buying this car to save fuel,
Exactly.
Save
So
fuel
I
by
think
hybrid,
that's
hybrid,
why they're going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I like
car, you like it?
Yeah. I mean, I like ISs.
They're a little small for me, but yeah.
Yeah, I like the size. I think the GSs are a little too big. And the IS has grown in size too throughout the years, right?
Yeah,
I've always liked
every car has kind of,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is like this car is probably as big as what an LS used to be, back in the day.
Maybe not quite, but yeah, you're getting kind of close though. You are, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about the looks? Do you like the looks?
I like the looks. Yeah, I like the looks. Actually, I think I like it better than the previous version. It's
previous IS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think previous version's a good looking car. The exhaust is pretty cool.
Exhaust is nice. Yeah, the front, that's, I mean, it's super aggressive.
Is this a car you would seriously consider over let's say, what would it be, an M3 or a AMG C class?
Yeah, I think I would consider it. Yeah, I think I would seriously consider it.
I would too, definitely. Yeah. I would too. And I'm a kind of a German car guy, and yeah, I definitely would too. So, James.
I think that, well, I'd consider it because you know how much I like driving the Lexus, and it is, as you point out, the only one with naturally aspirated V8 in this segment now, the last remaining one.
Exactly.
It
All the
makes
other ones are turbocharged.
it makes very much common sense to me that you could charge as one and then do an ISF version of this. You could easily make some adaptations to the front, especially underneath the splitter underneath to make it look a little sportier. You could definitely make it, instead of it being the black, you could change it to the matte piecings there with the plastic. You could give the carbon wheels in regards to the look of them to change that.
You're already building the ISF.
Yeah,
That's what
and
he's
then you
doing.
put a bigger wing on the back. You obviously need to anodize like they do in the current ISFs now. You anodize the top mount underneath the plastic there,
Yeah.
and then you just change the stitching on the inside with the different colored leathers, and there you go. $25,000 more. Give it another 50 horsepower. Done. Sold.
Same engine.
You just have to bump the horsepower a little bit, but yeah, same engine.
Just twin engine.
Yeah.
Totally doable.
We'll see if I haven't heard anything from the Ninja Otakus, but if they do say, hey, Mr. Jameson is absolutely right. He was on the ball before us. They might recruit you, man. You might be the first Caucasian otaku ninja in their gang.
Well, I'm going to be happy to be in your friend's gang, Sam. That's all I'll say about that. They all seem very cool to me, even though you speak otherwise of them. But I think they're all very nice indeed.
Oh, I don't speak otherwise of them, but you're trying to get me in trouble now.
Look,
But
you don't
anyways,
talk about them at all, Sam. I know. That's what I say. I think they're wonderful folks.
So it looks like James is a thumbs up. I'm a thumbs up. Taro thumbs up. So
Yep.
looking forward for this car to come up. I think the $60,000 price range, around there. I think if they keep it there, they'll be in pretty good shape. If that starts creeping up 70 to 80, I think it'll be a harder sell for this segment car. So.
Yep.
Okay, so there
Thumbs
goes.
up for me.
That's my segment. All right, who are we? Who's going?
James?
next?
Sure, I'm happy to talk about the latest review. I was going to talk about the car that I had the pleasure of reviewing. Let me just pull it
My
up.
car?
Yeah, your car. Tara, you could even probably talk about this review and talk about it more than me. So it was the 2021 Toyota 4Runner Trail Edition is the car that I had the pleasure of spending a week with. Now, Taro, I think you know a little bit about these, do you not?
This car? Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say about the 4Runner and your experience with the 4Runner?
Oh, I love it. It's
As an owner,
oh yeah, I love it. I love this car. I have no complaints about it. I have the TRD off-road version. So, there's the SR5 group, and then they have this new one, right? This is the trail version. I think that's a separate like group of 4Runners.
Segment.
And then there's a TRD segment, and within TRDs they have the TRD Pro, TRD Off-Road, and stuff like that. But I'm really interested to hear how you liked the trail version.
Well, I'll be very honest and say, honestly, driving it, it's not the best driver. I mean, it's a car on a platform that came out, what would you say? It came out in 2010, if you keep me honest here, Tara, in regards to when they last did the refresh on the 4Runner?
Probably.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I do feel, I mean, you're driving this car around, if you put the brakes on, you're going forward, you're going back.
Yeah, but it's a frame on, it's the body on frame. It's
no, I understand that. But whenever you get the keys out, whenever you get the keys out to pull the door and you open it up and you're ready to go, you're like, look, I'm just going to get in my 4Runner. I'm just going to go. I'm going to head to the beach. I'm going to get on the sands. I'm going to drive on the sands. I'm going to go off the sands. I'm going to go up a mountain. I'm going to go down a mountain. I'm going to go across a river. I'm going to go on some, you can go, and you just feel like you can go anywhere. In it.
Exactly. You can go anywhere in this car. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, for example, I would say, whereas most of the time I talk about them, say it's great to go to the shops and it's just nice, comfortable ride around town. This one, I'd say this is really for someone that likes the outdoor life. That's really where I think it's really focused. If you like going outside, if you like to do things, adventurous kind of thing, it's great. I mean, it comes with the roof rack there from Yakima, which was very nice. It also, the other thing that I liked about it, it comes with this fantastic cooler in the back there. That's great.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I like that the shelf pulls out here as well that you've got in the back there. So that was good. You can actually use it as a seat, which I thought was kind of fun. Inside, I mean, I thought it was very utilitarian is the best way to describe it. It wasn't, for example, as high end as some of the. It wasn't as fancy as, say, for example, the Toyota RAV4 Prime that I was just in a couple of weeks ago or 2 months ago. But it was perfect for what you'd want for an outdoor vehicle. Everything seemed very cleanable in there. If you're going to get it muddy, you can sort of clear it all out and make it clear. But I mean, as you know, Taro, probably its biggest Achilles heel, I'd say, is it's not the most economical vehicle to go and drive around. So you do have to do a lot of stops at petrol stations and the like. But as long as you can go out and go anywhere and like hit any trails you want, absolutely fantastic. I will say that. I mean, I could climb any curb I came to and feel no problems whatsoever when I was out driving this around.
Any Hollywood curb.
Any Hollywood curb I got. But I also, one other good thing about this is I'd be driving this around town and other people in other trucks would give me the thumbs up because they liked it. And I think that's always a good sign for a good car.
So what
James?
kind of four-wheel drive, sorry, Sam, what kind of all-wheel drive features are there? Are there all the features of, like, you know, the stuff on the top, on the above the mirror too? The adjusting of the going, you know,
that's
uphill, downhill, all that kind of stuff.
That's all next to the console down at the bottom now. So they've moved that to the.
Oh, really?
Console.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's down in the middle. But it is the 4-liter V6 with the part-time 4-wheel drive is the one that I was spec'd out with. And I don't think it seems any point to get the 2-wheel drive one. I don't really understand why you would. But it's got the active traction control and things like that involved. I mean, the one that I had spec'd out came in just shy of 42,000 for the vehicle itself. But I don't think it's obviously in these times, especially in the last year, if you wanted to go places, that seems like a practical solution. It's very comfortable. Obviously, air conditioning works great. There's enough power ports to charge everything, all the important things that you need now. And it looks cool. I mean, I got it in this color. It looks good. The wheels look good with it, with the TRD wheels that it comes with. You get obviously I had the TRD like splash plate at the front, which looks good as well. So I thought it was a good little package. I was all about it. See, there's Sam. The cooler.
I cut you off, Sam. Go ahead.
Oh, no. He actually answered the question for me because I was going to ask him what was the engine inside. So he just said it was a 4-liter V6. So
yeah. So I definitely think they could rework the engine. I mean, it's making 4-liter V6 is making 270 horsepower. You're definitely not going anywhere fast in this, which I think leads, especially around town, stoplights, traffic lights, things like that. The jerking forwards and backwards a little bit, especially when you drive it like a race car. I think you could get a lot more horsepower out of the engine, but then it's like, how much do you want to throw at it when it's already selling so well, already working so well? It's those practical trade-offs, you know?
Did yours have the moon roof?
No,
it did
just
not
had the regular sunroof. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, but it does have a sunroof though.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I like those wheels.
Actually, no, maybe I'm lying. I think I'm lying, Taro. It didn't have the sunroof. So I apologize.
For 42 grand, I think it's a lot of vehicle there, you know, especially if you want something off-road. Something that big, you know. It doesn't have third row seating, does it?
No, this one doesn't. It's got the
tray.
Yeah,
it's got the tray
there in the back. So you can stack everything you want in there. So if you wanted to put surfboards in there, if you wanted to haul stuff from IKEA, then it's perfect for things like that because everything goes down. Everything goes down flat. So that was nice. When the seats go down, it matched with the tray. So it was all flat in the back. So it was good. So if you wanted to sleep in it, you could sleep in it. It'd be comfortable enough and flat enough in the back there. So
I've slept in the back of my car, just diagonally. Even with the tray there, it's
when your wife kicked you out of the house.
Yeah, in the yard.
Did you go
the driveway?
Where did you go? You take this thing camping, Taro?
Yeah. I when I took it camping, one time it was just like a 1-night surf trip, and I didn't want to bother, pitching a tent or anything, so I just slept in my car.
Yeah.
It was super comfortable.
Have you found you've had any problems getting it anywhere, Taro, or you've had no problems when you've taken it on your off-road expeditions? Because obviously your experience is far longer than mine for the week. I
mean, I haven't taken it like, aggressive rock climbing or anything, but, just taking it off-road or, going up, some sand duney places, or I've taken it near, what's that? What are those trails? outside. Yeah, Joshua Tree. I've taken it to
Anza,
Joshua
Borrego.
Tree. Yeah, Borrego Springs, you know, and off California City around that area too. They
But
have some trails up there.
I mean, it's a classic silhouette, is what I think is holds its appeal. The colors that they're putting out there, releasing with the new colors and bringing those into it, I think suit this car really well. And I think the wheels look really good.
Yeah, the wheels
As
look
I
nice.
said, you can go everywhere with it, anywhere you want to go, and it just makes it accessible and easy. I just felt like if I wanted to put it in 4-wheel drive and go up June, I could just click the button and do it. And I've got no real experience in doing that, but I felt a lot more confident in this than I would in anything else. That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, why fix something that really, really works well?
Exactly.
I mean, this thing just so utilitarian, but
Yep.
I mean, it's you know, it's just everyone's favorite, you know, for like overlanding or off-roading.
Yeah. I mean, and you can see why. It's just very easy to make do with everything in there. It's just
I
so
love this. I love this cooler though, man. I
I
want
know
one
the
of these.
cooler was really cool. Literally. I mean,
Literally
I
cool.
want one of those.
yeah. Yeah. And I like the roof rack as well. I was like, if I needed the extra space in the top with the roof rack, it was super handy. It was already on
Yeah,
there.
look at that. You have your sleeping bags for you and the wife and Kiwi.
I was thinking more for Sam, Taro, and James, but that's just me. I mean, I was thinking with
I don't do camping.
Podspeed road trip. There we go.
I'll
Obviously,
stay at the hotel.
That's it. That's what I thought though. Afterwards, I was like, no, Sam's not. And then Sam wouldn't let me drive either. So it's like he'd take his own
probably
car,
not. Yeah,
and then we have to go like to a fancy. It have to be the Ritz or somewhere like that for Sam.
No, it
So
doesn't
the
have
Four
to be
Seasons.
Yeah, it would be nice, but yeah.
No, see, that's just a given. It would be nice means that's where my standby. plan is.
I'll just follow you guys in my Lexus GX 460 luxury.
There you go.
Yeah, he doesn't need the Ritz. I mean, the Marriott will do.
Yeah,
Only if it's a JW Marriott.
JW Marriott.
Yeah,
That's the only one.
Yeah,
But
let's not get carried away here, buddy.
And then obviously when it comes to the sport, the motorsports and everything, we're seeing the Formula One cars beginning to get released now. We'll have
Aston Martin. I love it.
Yep, they've had the Alpine, they've had Mercedes. So I think the drives are going to be in Bahrain next week, ahead of the Grand Prix and getting in preparation for that. So it'll be interesting to see where all the teams are in regards to their times and standings. So that's going to be where the future lies, and we'll talk about that next time.
Sounds good. All right. Taro, what do you got?
I have just one thing. So you guys, all our viewers have heard about the earthquake that hit Fukushima about 2 weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago? Yeah.
The new one, yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was like almost on the 10-year anniversary of the Fukushima earthquake. There was another earthquake about 2 weeks ago, and it devastated one of drifting's favorite, you know, legendary location. Yeah, called Ebisu Circuit.
Yeah.
They got waylaid by this. What is this? Landslide, I guess. Yeah, mudslide, landslide. Basically, the earthquake basically cracked the foundation of the mountain that they're on, and half of the mountain just slid right onto the track, and it caused some severe damage to the track. And I don't know if you guys have been following on Ebisu Circuit and Kuma Kubo-san on Facebook and Instagram, but they're really devastated. Our guy Robbie Nishida, who does some of our videos for us, he's visiting today. He's going to take some pictures and do some video to go help out and just film the damage. But they're running this campaign to make donations to help Ebisu rebuild. I've seen like the comments on social media, like, "Oh, I'm sure they can do it themselves," or whatever. I mean, everybody needs help at times like this. It's pretty devastating. So I urge you guys, if you have the means, anything would help. So if you can, yes, exactly. If you have the means, if you can, help out. If you can't donate, share it. You know, sharing is free. So share the information. Get the information out there. Ebisu is a you know, it's an iconic spot for drifting and Japanese motorsports, especially grassroots Japanese motorsports. So let's try to support these guys as much as possible. And I want to see these guys up and running as soon as possible.
Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah, besides that, I'm good right now. GT channel is a little bit on the YouTube side. We're taking a little break while we plan our 2021 season, but the new videos should be coming out shortly. The pod speed stuff is, going on strong. Next week, in 2 weeks, we have Chip Pankow from Robo Race. So that should be a really interesting one. The Robo Race is the AI powered race cars, the unmanned autonomous racing that goes on. They have a big season ahead, so I'm really interested to see what they have planned.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of the future of racing. Might be, right? Sam, you know Chip, right?
Let's hope not. I've run into him a couple times. So
yeah.
Hopefully, you apologize when you ran into him, Sam.
Well, I didn't literally run into him, but
oh, I thought that's what it meant.
No, that's you, James. That's you in a car. So, okay, perfect. Well, anyways, that does it for another exciting episode of Podspeed. Number 39. Hey, our next one will be number 40. So it's kind of a nice round number. We will have. We got to do something for our 50th, right? It's got to be some kind of celebratory thing.
Maybe we can actually, maybe by 50 we can actually do it together.
Yeah, live, without
No, it's much easy like this doing the PJs.
James is too comfortable.
James is gonna stay home.
You know that.
I'm gonna stay. It'll just be me in the bedroom like this, and you guys could be there.
So the
James
white,
in his
bedroom
white
is going to be
void.
the most famous white bedroom ever. It's just so white. I mean, wow. I mean, I don't think I could sleep in that thing. It's just too white. It's too pure. Is that a reflection of you, James? Just the purity?
It is.
Okay.
I mean, this is why I don't understand why you give me all this grief about driving cars when obviously all these thighs that you talk about have never happened. We'll have to settle this on the Gran Turismo racetrack, Sam, when the next version comes out.
Oh, absolutely. You should come over. I have a sled, I have
Sam, what's going on with the Gran Turismo championships? Are they still doing that virtually?
Yeah, they're doing it virtually. They're going to start again. The season starts again, and they're going to start doing it virtually. But as events go, nothing has been announced yet, So that's where it is. The last World Championship was held, was it in November, I think? And, Japanese guy named Takuma Miyazono just dominated. Igor Fraga was there,
Wait, November meaning 2020 November or 2019 November?
Wait, where are we in? 2020.
Oh, like 4 months ago.
Yeah, 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah, they did it virtually. Yeah, so
I see.
So they did have a world champion. So yeah, the next season starts pretty soon. So
okay.
But not with events. So anyone who's actually interested in participating, and they have some skills, they have some mad skills with the buttons or the steering wheel. Go to granturismo.com and check out when all those things are happening. All you need is an internet connection and a PlayStation console like the one the one I got James. So
when's the new one coming out, Sam?
That much.
You know when the new GT is coming out?
New GT probably sometime this year. I don't.
What would be really good, Taro, is if I got a copy of that to review, so then I could talk about it. I mean, maybe we could talk to someone about that and that happen.
So
you need the new PS, so you need PS5.
I believe one of the callers, one of us can make that happen for me and make it.
I don't know who. I've done all I can already, James. I've done all I can. Now it's for you to use your. It's time for you to go out there, James, and go out there in the real world. I've done enough. I've nurtured you.
Look, Sam, we'll only find it out once I beat you on the racetrack. I think that's going to be the decisive point.
On the real racetrack or on the Gran Turismo racetrack?
They're both real to me.
Oh,
they're both real to me. Both close to my heart and real to me.
Good answer.
I know they're different to you, but to me,
they're a bit different.
One of the same.
I'm a little better on the real one than I am on the virtual one, but hey, I'll practice though. I will practice. if maybe we'll do that on the 50th, Taro. We'll have like kind of a Gran Turismo showdown on like the Nürburgring or something. You know.
Okay. I mean, I need to get a copy then. Well,
I know. Well, you know the guys there. So, anyways, okay. Well, that
All right.
does it for us. Thank you for watching and listening, and we will see you in a couple weeks. Till then, Podspeed. See you later.
thank you. See you
Bye.
later. Bye.